The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome everyone to the webinar and thanks for joining. We'll kick off the presentation shortly, but first some housekeeping items. All lines are on mute to ensure no accidental disruptions. Also, we do encourage you to ask any questions you may have by submitting them in the question box. At the end of the presentation, we'll address as many as we can. If we did not get to yours, we'll follow up with you directly. So let's get things started. I'll hand it off to our presenter, Jonathan Bennett. Jonathan?
Good afternoon or good morning to everyone, depending on where you are joining us from. My name is Jonathan Bennett with 5i Solutions, and I thank you for joining us today. In this short webinar, approximately 15 minutes long, we will be discussing how going digital and eliminating a large inventory of filing cabinets or storage rooms of paper doesn't have to be a manual, inefficient, time-consuming process. We will discuss the options and benefits of utilizing automation in an affordable and secure way. We will provide some steps on how you can get started. If you have questions along the way, as my colleague said, please feel free to drop them in the question box. So let's get started. Let me give you a little background on 5i Solutions. We are in our 27th year as an organization. During that time, we have always been in the document management space. We started in the litigation industry. Anyone that remembers Enron in the early 2000s, well, this was the first time a case was litigated utilizing electronic discovery or electronic document management. One of the software products we provide our customers was utilized in that case. It allowed hundreds of lawyers to access the case documents from all over the world. And although it wasn't referred to as the cloud back then, a cloud document management solution was what it was. And this is something that has always been the backbone of what we provide. Now, Enron was a large organization that employed thousands of people. This is not at all typical of our customer base today. We operate in three main regulated sectors: human resources, financial services, and municipal government. One of our older clients is the County of Granville in North Carolina. As you can see, they support a population of about 60,000. When we met with them, they were utilizing a paper file-based system, which not only was inefficient, but also required them to dedicate physical space for storage. Furthermore, when it came time for them to dispose of documents and records, they had to take paper files to the landfill and witness documents being burnt or buried. As you might imagine, this process was highly unproductive, and they desperately needed to transition to a less manual, labor-intensive process that offered automation with digitizing their records. Now, guardians or custodians of a city that have been around for, let's say, 50 plus years, traditionally have filing cabinets full of paper records. They may have already implemented a software day forward to not add to the paper pileup. However, very few have been able to deal with the paper filing cabinets. In today's webinar, we have boiled this down into two main problems. Problem one, when information is requested, it takes time to locate what has been requested. The older the information normally collates with the longer it takes to find something. What happens if previous record keepers weren't as diligent in their filing? This increases the chances of older information being misfiled. It's not unheard of, and if it is, well, where do you start? Problem two, one copy of anything that is important is always going to be hard to replace. If you had a photocopy or a saved image of your passport, replacing it becomes easier. It has a unique number, and you can provide the federal government, in that scenario, they are essentially your backup copy. What if that one record or place where records are stored becomes unreachable, lost, destroyed in a fire, storm, or something less dramatic, a burst pipe? What's the contingency? How would you replace something there is only one copy of? What if it was something serious like a hurricane? Was the town's disaster plan and emergency contact information in the filing cabinet that was just destroyed? Now what? On a personal level, we have insurance. Replacing our things is a hassle, but the insurance company writes us a check and we get started. As a custodian of a town with 50 plus years of history, that town is probably the birthplace of entire generations of family trees. How do you replace that? We probably are aware of why we should be storing documents electronically. The advantages are obvious, and obviously, all of these statements are true. They make it easier to find and manage the information contained in the documents. But who here doesn't look at filing cabinets, or a network of folders and feel, wow, that's a daunting task. Open those filing cabinets to see what you really have, and whoa, we've got how many documents? Are we even sure what all of them are? And that's just one department. It's not easy. That process is the heavy lifting, getting documents into a system. If you can fix that problem, you'll reduce organizational resistance to storing documents electronically. Populating index data and naming conventions manually should always be a last resort. Of course, once we go there, we don't want to wind up with a digital landfill either. Making everything digital the wrong way can leave you with problems finding documents too. Even if we make all the indexes required or naming conventions, we might have users mutiny and refuse to use the system. Best case scenario is that users spend the time to do it with each and every document. But that brings up another problem. The cliche is true, time is money. Timing yourself to see how long certain tasks take is an interesting exercise and gives you some perspective about how much time you spend in a day doing a specific task. So the message is clear. We need to stop wasting time and efficiency on manual tasks that can be automated. So let's start with the elephant in the room, budget. Each municipality has an expected or forecasted tax revenue each year, but how much of it can be spared for a scan project? How can more be found? How can a justification for spending be made? Do you remember earlier when I said it's an interesting exercise to time yourself when you're searching for a record? Well, you could create something similar to this for yourself, but for searching. For example, if you have an organization that needs to file, say, 100 documents a day, PricewaterhouseCoopers research firm shows that it takes 6 minutes on average to file a document. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics shows the average burden labor rate for the US is $33.11. I rounded it to 30 for easy math. Now that's burden rate, not just salary. That breaks down to 50 cents per minute. That times 6 minutes per document gives us a document filing cost of $3, or a daily filing cost of $300, or a monthly filing cost of $6,600. And that's based on a 22-day work month. Now, even if the team is super fast and can file in half the time and has a labor rate a third lower than the national average, we're still talking real money. And because these are soft costs that no one writes a physical check for and don't appear as a line item on financial statements, these sort of non-tangible costs aren't realized. They are there. What could your municipality do with an extra $6,600 or $2,200 a month? So what is document capture? The difference between scan and capture. Scanning is making a document electronic. Document capture is document ingestion, data extraction, and then migration of that information that was just extracted. What takes you from simple scan to capture is a wealth of automation capabilities. The benefit, well, with minimal labor involvement, your documents are placed into an organized network folder structure, preferably a record management software system. They will have all the necessary indexing, accurately and consistently named, and if your system is configured that way, retention policies applied. Our focus with document capture helps you boost real efficiency by reducing, and in most cases eliminating, keystrokes and mouse clicks related to document digitization. First on our list of going digital, of course, the scan part. We can, of course, import electronic documents as well, but oftentimes there is a scanning step. We are hardware agnostic. This allows us to work with whatever devices you want to use for scanning. If you already have multifunctional printers, the good news is we can make scanning easier and more efficient. If they have higher volume capture needs or users that routinely perform scanning as part of their work processes, they probably have a directly connected scanner. We also have the ability to leverage network scanners with touch screens since they offer scan to folder functionality. How do we do it? Once the documents are scanned, utilizing your hardware devices, the next step is data extraction. We can use a wide variety of technologies to extract information from documents. Everything from recognizing checkboxes and bubble sheets to barcodes, and recognize text in several different ways. We can also do automated validation by looking up information that is stored in other business systems you are probably already using. In this example, I receive an employee's explanation of benefits. I know what I want off it, names and dates and policy number, etc. What I want is the software to enter it automatically and not have to touch it. In other words, I want to scan it, software does the work, and I do my job. Here's a little bit more detail. A smart zone lets me draw a large area. Find an anchor, like the words invoice number, or in this case, invoice NO. Then find the data we want near that anchor. We can even tell our software to set up smart zones automatically. This helps us with both speed and accuracy. Many times, before we begin to extract indexes, we need to first sort and separate documents by type, POs, invoices, etc. The software has the ability to do this for us, so we don't have to group documents together pre-scan. This is called document classification. It can identify one document format from another. It then knows where on the page to find the index information for that type of document to extract it. In addition to performing classification and automated indexing very well, we also have a learning engine that can help define the document profiles for new types of documents that have never been seen before, like an invoice from a new vendor. So now we've scanned using automation to identify and index our files. Where do we want it to go? Well, if you don't have a document management software currently, 5i Solutions can help with that. If you do, we can migrate the information there or into network folders. You may want the extracted data to be automatically fed into other business systems. Obviously, being able to accomplish both of these tasks through one simple process tremendously increases the efficiency. So we've established filing cabinets full of paper are inefficient. Traditionally, the only way to get rid of them is a very manual and labor-intensive scan process. Next, you have to file and save documents to a location. Then more often than not, you or a colleague has to retype the information into another business system. Hopefully today, you will see our solution is as simple as loading the paper files into your current scanners. The electronic files are processed, information is extracted, documents are indexed, and data can then be populated into other business systems, all utilizing the efficiency of automation. Again, the cliche is true, time is money. So where to start? Take a deep breath and look. What filing cabinets or physical storage space is costing you the most? Which documents that are mission critical are still paper? When and how often do you have to access them? Do you send them back and forth to other departments, employees, or maybe it's just you? What's the most important thing or things? Based on your review, prioritize the document process by function and critical needs. Maybe it's tax records, employee files, or something else. Every municipality has similar challenges. However, there is also a lot of uniqueness for each city or town to what that is. But as a custodian, you know best. Write or sketch the process down with each step for all your newly identified documents that are causing the most inefficiency. Now, for attending this webinar, we are going to send you a link for a free white paper we've put together that shows how municipalities can avoid disaster with paper records. It gives some more in-depth ideas on how to get started, and it's good content to reference back to or provide others in the decision-making process on what to do next. If you thought the information was useful today, we will also make the PowerPoint available as a PDF. We will also provide a link for the video of today, so if there was anything you missed or would like to reference back, you can. Next steps, well, our government specialists are experienced in providing cost-effective, scalable solutions for a single department or an entire municipality, and we would love to hear from you and discuss your unique challenges and specific needs. Thank you for joining me, Jonathan Bennett, today. I hope the information was helpful.
Now for the Q&A. Jonathan, we do have a couple questions here for you. First off, how much does this cost, or a typical solution cost?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to depend. Hopefully what you got today, specifically with the Granville County example, is it's a very scalable solution. Now, no one city is the same, but we have municipalities using the system that are 1 or 2 users, all the way up to 100, 200 users. So it's going to be relative to what you need to get done, but certainly in this space, it's a very affordable solution.
Next question. Do you have retention schedules for every state built into the solution?
We do have retention schedules built into the solution, but not for every state. So, it's configured to a point where all we would need to do is take those additional retentions and apply them on the back end. So we could work with you to do that. But yeah, for many states, we do already have it pre-configured.
That's it for the questions, Jonathan.
All right. Well, again, thank you for participating today. We will send out that information probably within 24 hours. Thanks.